Hey y'all, hey.
Hey, how y'all doing today? My name is Kate Jr.
And I am Fiat Hollins, aka Fee. We
And
are here with Unpacking Our Shit.
Yes, Unpacking Our Shit. This is the Family Affairs series. This is part 3. This is going to be the grand finale. I do apologize, I did not bring fireworks. So.
Did I bring fireworks?
I didn't, not this time, not this time. Maybe next time I'll do that. Indoors. No, I'm not going to do that, I'm playing. So What we're going to get into right now is the third generation that we're dealing with, the group of generations that we're dealing with, part of Generation X, Millennials, and Generation Z. And there's so much to say there. So what I did is I streamlined just a couple of issues that we can tackle for this finale. And one is resentment. The other one is family secrets. And we're going to talk about how those are linked to these generational curses. Because I know, Phoebe, we had a lot of conversations about generational curses and breaking different types of cycles. This is a cycle that needs to be broken. So we're going to start with resentment. Now, civil rights movement has now passed. They were so busy laying the groundwork for our future. Some things that were happening within the home during that present time was getting a little ignored and then just kind of washed over and redressed.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? It's freezing again.
To look. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see. It's freezing. What is it doing on your end?
Oh, I can see you just fine.
Okay. Yep, it was freezing. I don't know why it's saying my internet is unstable. I have no idea. No reason.
That's all right.
I'm on my laptop. So that's what,
Oh,
not on my phone.
That's all right. We'll power through. Now, one of the things that kind of got broken down a little bit was a lot of non-communication. And then when the culture shifted and when society shifted, we were still holding on to a few old traditions. And yes, resentment and family secrets can be a tradition for some families. But some of the resentment, we'll start with, women first, as we are women. You're dealing with a generation of women that, that raised us, that were very young when they got married a lot of the times. So they weren't really fully aware of who they were as women and as people before they bound their entire lives to somebody else. They didn't know who they were outside of what they were told or whoever their husbands wanted them to be. So there really wasn't that personal freedom. This generation has really taken control of not just their sexuality. I don't want to just boil it down to just sexuality. They opened themselves up to feeling free, and not in a sense of, racism, stuff like that, but in a whole different sense, like an inner peace and inner freedom to be who they are, express who they are. It's not a lot of, you need to be seen and not heard. Some of that is starting to go by the wayside. And the older generation, women sometimes, and I've seen it, they get really resentful of the freedoms that we now have, the options that we now have to really explore ourselves and explore who we are as people outside of what society tells us we're supposed to be, or our families tell us we're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have that. So.
Okay, can I back you up? Can I back you up like really quickly?
Yeah.
So tell us why this conversation is important. Like, why is this necessary to talk about specifically this episode of part 3 in the family series? Why is this? Yeah. Why do we need to know this? Us being, what generation are we? I never know the numbers.
I'm a millennial. I'm a very old millennial, and you would be Generation X. Okay. At the very end, Generation X.
I'm at the end of Generation X. Mm-hmm. And you're a millennial?
Yeah, I'm the 81 starts a millennial, so I'm literally the oldest millennial.
Gotcha.
I cannot wait to go to my grandchildren and say, yeah, I'm a millennial from another century.
Hilarious.
But no, these conversations are important to have because I feel like there is a very big pendulum shift that is happening in society right now. And it's very precarious. Right now, especially in this day and age where we're being open to therapy, where we're being open to talk about these traumas that we've gone through, we have an opportunity to really heal a lot of inner wounds within our community, within our families. Because I think the 90s was a little bit of that last generation to really have like the family reunions, get-togethers, all that fun stuff, you know what I mean? That started to go by the wayside. And I think it went by the wayside with this newer generation because they were starting to see like, no, this shit is not okay. And that's where family secrets come in. A lot of strife, a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, and a lot of times trauma is tied up into a family secret.
That's funny that you brought that up about the family reunions because I still have the last family reunion I went to was actually 1991.
Yep.
And I still have my shirt. I cut the sleeves off because I really I don't know why I like to show my arm. I ain't gonna say I don't know why, but I like to show my arms off. So I have my family reunion shirt from 1991. I was 15 years old, and that was the last family reunion I went to.
Yeah.
But my family, had though. So
but they were fun, weren't they?
Listen, they were lit.
You want to know something fucked up about family reunions? The fucked up thing about family reunions and the way family secrets work and why that was starting to break down in the early 2000s is everybody was kind of sort of letting the family pedophile come to every family reunion and be their partner in a game of spades. Every family reunion, there was some type of family predator there, whether it be a pedophile, whether it be an abuser, any type of abuser. We all know we have those members of the family, but we don't ever say anything about it.
That's absolutely true.
That in itself breeds a whole nother layer of resentment.
Yep, you're right.
And that's our end. That's the resentments that we have. We all have resentments. Each generation has resentments, but we have resentments for different reasons. This time, I think those are starting to come to a head. And if we can just sit down and be honest with ourselves and each other about a lot of these things, so much can be healed. There can be such a wonderful bond that is recreated within our community.
If we heal. But the thing is,
we heal. But we have to be open to healing. And that's going to be...
That was what I was about to say.
Yeah, that's going to be the difficult part because some of these family secrets involve, if people were to find out, motherfuckers would be going to jail. You know what I'm saying? And then that's where that old generational shame comes in. Oh, brother, and they're always trying to get a brother or a sister down. And, they're always trying, why would you do that? It is always, go with your own, no matter how much they hurt you. That can't happen anymore. It's destroying whatever fraction of a bond we had left because there's a broken trust there. Like, you allowed this situation to happen, or you allowed this person to do such and such and such. Why do I trust you? And why do I trust anything you say? And half the things that you tell me, I don't see it demonstrated by you.
Right. So the purpose of all of this is to heal because of the brokenness that's carrying on through generations because of people not speaking, using their voice, and carrying on the family secrets.
Listen, there's two people in the family generally that knows all the family dirt, and it's the most sanctified motherfucker, and it's the craziest motherfucker. Those two, between the two of them, know every single family secret. And you know why this one's crazy? because this sanctified motherfucker probably did some raggedy ass shit or knows who did the raggedy ass shit, but they're not saying anything. And they're just letting this one just fall off by the wayside and get, you know, like in soul food, locked upstairs in the room with their needle getting shoved to them. You know what I'm saying?
Feed them food at the little intervals, during the intervals. And the thing with the quote unquote crazy person, there are times when that person will actually spew different things. Do you see what I'm saying? Will say things and it sounds off the wall, and a lot of people dismiss it as off the wall, but the shit be true. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it should be true. And we just like, oh, that person crazy. Oh, that person crazy.
Not crazy. They're not crazy. They're honest. So everyone likes to call them crazy to cover up their, and that's the thing about a lot of these family secrets and lies, it's always to cover up somebody's fuck up, somebody's failure to protect.
Ooh,
and
a
lot of people aren't willing to deal with that. Like, I failed
take that responsibility.
Protecting you.
Yeah.
They don't want to see it that way.
That's heavy. You want to,
do
you want that burden?
Nobody wants that burden.
Exactly.
But it's only going to be taken care of if we acknowledge it and then deal with it. And then we have to go about things differently moving forward. And that's another thing. It can't just be, you know, okay, everybody has made their amends and said that I'm sorry. It's like, that's very important. That needs to happen first. But after that needs some change behavior. Like everybody says, you know, apology means nothing without change behavior. This healing's not going to mean shit without change behavior.
Absolutely.
It really does start with us, within ourselves first, within our families, and then that branches out into the community. And right now, Black people need that sense of community, because if anything, you know, the last 6 months has shown us that we really are on our own out here. These motherfuckers will rewrite the laws to protect them.
Yep.
And nobody's gonna protect us like us, and nobody's got us like us. And we, as soon as we come to that understanding, realization that they really can't help us because they need to fix racism and not us, so we can do some self-care, some much needed self-care as a community.
That part.
We need to realize that shit. We need to realize that shit. And we all need to try to find the right word. And not just bring us together, but just close the door to sharing for a while. You know, sharing our influence, our culture, our money. You know what I mean? Gotcha. We need not, we overshare. We overshared a lot, and we overextended ourselves, you know, trying to fight for equality. And isn't that fucked up about the fight for equality? We're fighting for racial equality, but we're fighting so hard that the things at home that we need as a foundation is lacking. That's why I say our progress is psychological, but also the things that hold us back and keep us down, those are psychological as well. That's why I say the key to our progress is all psychological, because it's been psychological from the beginning. You know why they're afraid to dream those big dreams? Because they had to deal with the shit that they had to deal with on a regular fucking basis, and racist ass white people made that as difficult as possible in as many ways as possible to keep up that fear that, well, racism is everywhere, so you might as well just deal with it, you know, and just, you know, let it go. They want us to let it go and just boil it down to, oh, it's okay, cool or cute to be casually racist. And it's real funny how white people can call racism casual. I think that's adorable. What's keeping us back right now, and what's keeping the generations from bonding right now, is that the older generation, the reason they act a lot of the way they do is there's a lot of undealt with fear and unacknowledged pain and wrongs, because we're asking them to do the things that no one did for them. No one said, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, I messed up. I did this. You know what I'm saying? I messed up in X, Y, or Z way. And I acknowledge that, and I'm sorry for whatever damage and hurt and pain that that's caused you, because it wasn't my intention. I was just doing what I knew how to do. And we also need to understand that too. And that's why there's a lot of, even though we're angry, there's a lot of forgiveness here, because listen, we understand all of that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We get all of that. That is why there is still a layer of forgiveness in us, because we understand more than they do. And that's what's really fucked up. We understand how and what they do and why they do it more than they do.
Like, and why they did it. So it's like we have to, in order to heal us, we have to understand why it's difficult for us to heal, because there are different layers to it. So we're going back to what, baby boomer? What's the generations? You just told me I'm X, right?
Yeah, the generation before that is the boomer. The generation before that, or the Depression era generation.
You said Depression era?
Depression era.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like my grandmama.
Grandmama, or in some cases, great grandmamas.
Yeah, that's my grandmama. My mom is the baby boomer area. Generation, I mean. So yeah, that's like immediately like before me. And definitely she has some. Yeah, she definitely has some. That's when it became clear. Yeah, that's when it became clear to me, like, okay, so I can't be mad at this certain thing, because she didn't heal from the shit that she was struggling with when her mom, from when her, when she was a kid. So she carried that on. And so I'm looking back at my childhood, like, okay, she was doing this, blah, blah, blah. She was emotionally unavailable, and she was physically there, but she was emotionally absent. That shit causes a whole lot of damage as well. So then when I started realizing, like, oh, this is why. So how can you expect? Yeah, I'm talking my butt off.
This is getting so good.
I know. And you're frozen. This is bullshit. Let me see if you come back in a minute. OMG.